be up in 1 minute. Okay, we're up on Instagram now.
Oh, come on. Hit that like. This thing, sorry, there we go. Aha, fixed it. You weren't supposed to hear that first part. That was secret. That was just for people who are on the special channel, Patreon only something. Do you think they're buying it? No. Welcome to the show. What I was saying was I had to throw some food down my throat really quickly right before as I ran in the door because doggy. Busy afternoon. We had a lot to cover today. Let me first say hello to the chat room, who is the most amazing chat room in the history of chat rooms on the greatest live stream in the history of live streams. I am Hal Sparks, your host of Hal Sparks Megaworldwide, the greatest live stream ever. And hello. Also, Chip was in here this morning when Cliff Schechter was talking, and I was this close to picking him up and carrying him over and making a thing out of it, but between the delay and the amount of talking that both Cliff and I do, I thought that was possibly dangerous for Chip. There would have not been a subtle exit point for him. So I'm again it. However, I did leave the door slightly ajar. So if at some point a cat wanders in on their own, I may interact with them. Just letting you know that. If they don't, no promises. I'm not going to make my cats dance around just to be your party monkey, you silly people. Okay. So, oh my God, so much stuff to cover today. So the primary one, we have entered the the egomania, like over their fucking skis, out over their skis, portion of Trump cultdom, I suppose. Normally we deal with this. This isn't too weird. I'll show you. This is usually what we're dealing with when we're talking about these. There's Carl Higbie, branded, who always seems to be like 3 months behind every other story. And the entire, I think the Carl Higbie show is really just designed so that you can, if you want, I guess, you can watch a completely clueless person in their natural habitat. Somebody who's just kind of amazed by everything that they don't understand. You know, like, what is happening when everybody knows what's happening and it's fairly easy to describe. He's kind of like somewhere between outraged and surprised by normalcy. And even when it's an abnormal, it's an abnormal we've all been talking about for a long time, and it just took them a long goddamn time to catch up. But this is your kind of general zone, right, of your right wing thumbnails. Then we have is it this one? Yeah. So this is Secret Service Super Bowl ad. America, some. This is Benny Johnson's one or whatever. Super excited. Look at this. Someone holding up their phone. I don't know, Secret Service guy, blood on his face, Super Bowl ad, little weird cartoon face thing that he does. And the title of this, I'll say the title of this one until we get there. But then also the absolute winner of the people who are douching their way across the internet, of course, is The Blaze. Ladies and gentlemen, they've got all that gear. I'm glad to see him using it. It's a little like on the nose, but whatever. Okay, I don't know why the Iceman cometh. So, couple things. Besides the literary reference here, I think it's that he's got ice water in his veins. He doesn't give a shit about separating families, I think is the argument in this. But also, there was I don't know if you guys remember this, but you guys remember the Iceman, let's see, he was like a mob killer, serial killer guy. And they were like, this guy found his fucking calling. Richard Kuklinski. Remember that guy? Hold on, let me bring up a picture of him. But for the beard, I feel like this is where they're going. Right? I mean, if you shaved Homan, he's basically looks like Richard Kuklinski. Yeah, there he is. Right here. This is the guy who killed, like, I mean, he was a mafia guy, but he killed, maybe hundreds of people, who knows. And he was just cold-blooded about it, and he talks about it like it was fucking nothing and whatever. But I feel like that's where they got it from. Like, the like X and XAI and all that kind of stuff. I'm convinced that Elon Musk got his fixation with X being everything because of the BTK said that he knew when he was a young man. Choppy and static YouTube sound. Yeah, when it was audio is choppy. The audio is the audio choppy, guys? See if I can. Maybe this is it. Hold on one second. Let me check. Let's see. I know what I'll do. Let's see if I can. That doesn't seem choppy on my end. I might be a little hot. Oh, I see what it is. Yep. It's hot on this end. Let me see if I bring it down a little on this end and see if maybe this thing, maybe the ISO thing is being weird. Turn that off. Hopefully. Wait, that might be better. There you go. Yeah, we'll give it a try. Okay. Now I can stop monitoring myself because I will go insane. Hi. Okay, so there we go. The BTK said he knew he was going to be a murderer and he wanted to do all the awful in his life because he had the X factor. He had Factor X is what he called it. And I'm fairly certain that that's where Elon Musk got his shit from. So it's not surprising that folks at the Blaze would tie Homan to a mafia hitman. But this is Trump orders warns cartels, illegal immigrants, and anti-ICE politicians. Ooh. It's going to be very exciting. Is he on the phone? I guess he is. He does call in. So we're actually hearing from Mushmouth himself. What do you want to do something before the president wants us to do it? President wants us to do it. The president wants us to do a thing. Hold on. My audio, see, I'll turn it up on here. Whoops. Check. There we go. Maybe. I'll turn it up on this end, perhaps. Hey, check. Is that a little bit better? Is that quiet? Is that okay? All right, here we go. Now.
I have a lot of favorites in this administration. Tom Homan is one of them. He's up at the higher part.
Hey, me too, man. I love a dude who overpromises and underdelivers just enough to freak out Trump. You know, just to make him mad.
Part of the list, he's a former police officer, U.S. Border Patrol agent, and former acting director of ICE. He is also now the...
Also, by the way, what Harry Potter wing is Glenn Beck a part of? Is there, stuff 'em ups or like figgledy poofs, something?
White House border czar, and one of the busiest men, I think, in the Trump administration, and that's saying something. Tom, welcome to...
No, he isn't. He's just traveling. Also, by the way, can I just say, some people will walk up to me occasionally, and this is totally off topic, but will come up to me and go, hey, you've been busy? You've been busy? You've been busy? No, I'm never busy. I am always working. Busy is work other people give you. I'm working. I'm doing shit.
The program.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah. You guys are just killing it right now.
And by it, we mean hopes and dreams. Also, no, they're not.
Now, I can't thank you enough for what you guys...
He said Shitterin? Is that what that's his Harry Potter group? Is that what we're going with?
...are doing. Was this something, Tom, when you were appointed, was this something that had been in the planning for a long time? How involved is the White House?
Yes. Have you been kind of racist your whole life, or
House in the plans? And how, I mean, everything's happening. It seems so coordinated with all of the different...
No, it doesn't. No, it's just like attack. And then they just kind of did. And they went, oh, we don't have a real fuck. All right, bring Dr. Phil. We'll go door to door.
Different things that are happening.
Honestly, does not look coordinated at all. Can I just, this isn't even a criticism. This is just a description.
How far out are you guys planned?
Well, look, as far as when did it all start, over a year ago, and President Trump, just before he announced he's going to run for president, he contacted me and wanted to know if he ran and won if I come back. I told him I was so pissed off what the Biden administration did to our reporter, I'd come back for free, absolutely. So I think I was one of the first guys he called. Anyways, I jumped at the chance, and I'm loving it. And look, we're real successful right now. Border crossings are.
This is good. Everybody's good with taking notes, right? It's clear what he's saying. You're able to make out some variant degrees of consonant and vowel. All right.
Down almost 90% across the southern border. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. We had, 11,000 a day under Joe Biden. And yesterday we had like 486 for the entire border. And not a single one of them were released to the United States. They either immediately removed or put in detention.
Any?
That was great.
No. Also, I guess many of the people they've been picking up inside the country, they have released on, they've caught and released, just for the record.
Any numbers going the other direction? Do you have any idea of how many are self-deporting?
Yeah. 10 million. We had 22 million people in here, and suddenly we have 10. So I think about 10 million people have self-deported.
We're trying to capture that metric now. I'm sure there's going to be an announcement coming here in the next week or so. where we want to start. If they report to ICE before they self-deport or stop at a port of entry, we'll give them credit for it. So we're working on that now.
Credit for it? What, do they get, a rebate? What, are you going to give them their VAT tax back?
So we have no idea.
Hold on. What does that mean? I'm self-deporting. Don't bust me? What do you think? They're going to stop you from leaving?
Yeah, who's self-deporting.
Honestly, I don't know what the fuck that means.
CBP has a system for people who are here on a visa and they leave, and they report that they left, so we can track that. But as far as illegal aliens, there's no system in place. We're working on that now. But
sorry, let's come here. So the idea is we're going to cut government waste, and this asshole wants to set up a program wherein people who are leaving here that weren't supposed to be here and were here illegally can check in on their way out when they self-deport. If you never knew they were here, why would they go, hey, I was here the whole time. Sorry about that. My bad. And then what? You'll give them credit for saying so when they want to come in next time? Or are they going to have an easier chance getting a work visa 6 years from now?
There's going to be a warning coming out. Like, they can't get ahead of it about 10 days from now, where we're going to discuss this very issue and give illegal aliens this country the right to self-report, so they don't get a bar placed on. Because if you get deported from this country, formally deported, there's a bar placed on you from 5 to 20 years, depending on your case. You can't come back under any circumstance. Even if you have a U.S. citizen child that wants to petition for you, if you want to come back on a visitor's visa or a student visa, you just can't. So we're going to have a massive push in about 10 days getting people to self-report.
Hold on. Yeah. But if you just leave, how do you know you don't need a fucking visa to leave the country? But I got to say, this sounds like bullshit bureaucracy to me. What? Why would they let you know? I was here the whole time. I mean, if they can come in to see their family members anyways, hey, I don't know.
And send them home.
So, in the last couple of days, we've looked at USAID. Tonight on the show, we talked about all of the money from the NGOs that was coming from the United States, from us taxpayers. It is really outrageous.
Well, it depends on what state you're in.
A lot of that money fell into the hands of the cartels. Nobody likes to take this kind of...
Says who? What do you mean a lot of that money fell into the hands of the cartels? What the fuck? I'm sorry, were we giving transsexual sex changes to cartel members now? Where was that announcement?
A dip in their cash flow. They had a good business going with the United States government.
Yeah, during Title 42.
It seems. How concerned are you on retaliation from them and them saying they're going to use drones? Do you believe it?
I absolutely believe it, and I'm very concerned. I was on the southern border a couple of days ago with Pete Hegseth, new secretary, and we discussed that very issue. And I put a stiff warning out. Look.
Ooh, a stiff warning. Also, I'm sorry, Glenn talks like an idiot all the time. So I couldn't tell from him where, let's see, cartels, drones, border, warning, something like that. Mexican cartels targeting border patrol agents with kamikaze drones, explosives amid Trump crackdown report. This is Fox News. Cartel war escalates, creates new threat at southern border. That's News Nation. MSN, Mexican cartels declare war on the U.S. border patrols with kamikaze drones. That's would be this thing. All right, here you go. This is what he's talking about. Kamikaze drones and bombs. Mexican drug cartels are becoming more aggressive. They are now ordering their members to attack U.S. Border Patrol agents using kamikaze drones and bombs. This comes as former President Donald Trump pushes for trying. An internal memo titled Officer Safety Alert warns federal agents about this new threat. The New York Post reported the memo is based on social media posts and intelligence sources. It reminds agents to stay alert, wear body armor, and be prepared to use their high-powered firearms. The report states that Mexican cartel leaders have authorized the use of drones armed with explosives against U.S. Border Patrol agents and military personnel stationed along the border. The document advises all agents and department. Again, New York Post, trust me, bro. I got to say, this sounds like they're an internal bullshit to ratchet this up. Supposed to encourage illegal immigrants to spit and urinate on ICE agents and their vehicles. Okay. From all the way across the border. Others go further calling for the assassination. Okay, these are a pro-Trump television. News Nation was the first to report on this memo. The station also found cartel-related posts on social media. Cartel-related posts. Last week, cartel members opened fire on Border Patrol agents front in Texas. The cartel members fled into Mexico and they encountered U.S. military forces. Some sought refuge on an island between the two countries. You mean in the fucking river? Hey, CSL, I don't know if we have that News Nation clip someplace. Did that show up someplace? I wouldn't doubt if you'd pulled it in some of the stuff that we were looking at, just to see if there's. Yeah. Okay. So we'll check it out if I can find that. But that's, again, this is an internal memo warning agents to stay vigilant, that based on social media posts of cartel-linked people.
You just said the cartels are making record amount of money lately in the last 4 years. Record amount of money, smuggling aliens, sex trafficking women and children, moving drugs across the border. They're making record amounts of money. That's why there's a cartel war going on in Mexico right now. The cartels are fighting one another for control of the plazas, their area control. So look, they're not going to go away lightly. They're not just going to walk away. President Trump has designated terrorist organizations, so the whole world's going to come.
Okay, this whole conversation is coordinated to ratchet stuff up so that he can be excused to fire into Mexico.
Not on them. The border's secure. They can't move the product. They can't smuggle the people. They're not going to go away quietly. There will be violence on the border.
Yeah, so CSL, I was wondering about News Nation apparently did a report on drones, cartels using drones. That was what he just brought up, like in that article. That's what Glenn was referencing. I just didn't know if you pulled it at some point or you knew where it was. I can look it up as well. I just didn't want to double down on our work. Let's see. How about do a quick search on this host shit. Let's see. News Nation, cartel, drones, something. New video charge about drones near southern border. It's 5 days ago. Cartel drones pose new threat at volatile southern border. That's on News Nation as well. Weaponized cartel drones will hurt ICE agents, migrants alike. Security has this a week ago. Okay, so Tonight
we are looking at the warning from Customs and Border Protection that Mexican cartels are ratcheting up their fight against American border officials. And you can see this internal CBP memo that highlights News Nation's reporting on the issue. Cartels authorizing the use.
Really? So News Nation reports this, and then the government follows it, as opposed to them checking to see if it's real. And I see. So this sounds, again, like a coordinated news story. Cartels using social media to taunt Texas Sheriff's Department 10 months ago. Yeah, I think that might be something along those lines. But this specifically has to do with drones, CSL. But anyways, this'll do.
Use of weaponized drone explosives against Border Patrol agents and U.S. military troops working at the border. Joining us now to talk more about this and other border-related issues, Charles Marino, Senior Advisor to the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. Charles, it is always so good to see you. I do want to get your opinion on this warning we're seeing going out from Customs and Border Protection that the cartels are ratcheting up their fight against American border officials. And we can see in this internal memo highlighting News Nation's reporting here on this issue that cartels are authorizing, they're greenlighting the use of the weaponized drone explosives against agents and U.S. military troops working at the border. What is your take here? How serious are these threats?
Well, this is not surprising, and these threats are very serious. Look, we're seeing an unprecedented response by the Trump administration to an unprecedented national security and humanitarian crisis that was allowed to fester and get worse.
Yeah. Okay. So what we're seeing is the ratcheting up of the language, building this towards a war. This sounds like wag the dog shit to me. This is the same conversation we saw around yellow cake in Iraq. If that makes sense.
But like I said yesterday, I think the Border Patrol's prepared. We get great intel on this, that the U.S. military is prepared. And it's just a warning to the cartels. I think if they harm a single Border Patrol agent or soldier, President Trump's going to rain hell down on them. And I think he'll wipe them off the face of the earth.
All right, there you go. Now, anybody who just wants that shit to happen, all they got to do is just drive a couple miles into Mexico and fire some shots long range over the heads of some guys they consider to be the cartels or whatever at somebody, and that in and of itself will be enough. Again, if you make it so like the response such a like a snap response to whatever happens, then anybody else can provoke that as well. It's not hard to get you to overreact now because you only have one solution to this problem.
There's a reason he doesn't in terrorist organizations. They killed more Americans.
Right, so that in a couple of months we can bomb Mexico.
Americans in every terrorist organization.
Yep. Cool. Thank you, CSL. Yeah, this is the language that they're using.
We begin tonight with News Nation's Jorge Ventura, who is live in San Antonio with the very latest on the cartels. Jorge, we are seeing major action. What is the government's strategy?
Yeah, that's right, Natasha. Now the Department of Justice has new targets set on 4 organized crime groups, including the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua, 2 of Mexico's most powerful organized crime groups in the Sinaloa and Cartel Jalisco New Generation, and lastly, the Salvadorian gang MS-13, what the DOJ is now calling a zero-tolerance strategy. In a new memo sent last week, the DOJ is now calling for total elimination of cartels and transnational criminal organizations.
Yeah, that sounds like a declaration of war. That doesn't sound like a, the start of a RICO case.
Department plans to fast-track terrorism and racketeering charges, allowing prosecutors to treat cartel members like domestic terrorists. That means harsher sentences, asset seizures, and the ability to go after entire networks, not just individuals. For the most dangerous cartel leaders, the DOJ is pushing capital punishment, including the death penalty. The memo says that cases involving
that would be capital punishment. Unless I guess you just maybe that Trump thinks capital punishment is when he says punishment in all caps.
Involving gang violence, human trafficking, and fentanyl distribution can now qualify.
That lady that lady's ready with her Mexico shotgun.
For the death penalty, and enforcement is expanding. The JTF Vulcan, the federal task force that took down MS-13, is now fully targeting the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. Agents are tracking their operations across multiple states and working with international partners to shut them down at the source. And just yesterday, a major buzz Border Patrol agents arrested Salgado Garza. He's a Gulf cartel hitman in Michigan. He's got a long rap.
Gulf cartel? Sorry.
Sheet and was caught heavily armed deep in smuggling operations, but cartel incidents hasn't stopped just yet. This week, News Nation obtaining a new shocking video of cartel drones dropping bombs on rival groups just south of the U.S. border. The use of weapons. Okay,
there you go. So they are they're using it on each other. The idea is that if they're, if you go after and you bust one of these guys, they're going to retaliate. Since they're already using these bomb drones, they're more than likely going to use them. But again, this is the if-then situation when you know you're going to ratchet it up.
Weaponized drones comes after warnings of cartel bombs placed along the southern border. And Natasha, recently I was just on the ground in Fronton, Texas, where suspected cartel members shot at Border Patrol agents. Border Patrol agents did fire back. There were no reported injuries at that time, Natasha.
Also, again, suspected? It's kind of important, right? I mean, if you don't know, some asshole could just go, I don't know, Mexican military guys in street clothes fired on them, whatever. Like if you don't know and you feel like you can attribute it to a particular group, you ratchet up the demand for violence against that group or whatever. And again, like locking these dudes up, doing, like coordination with the Mexican government, all that kind of stuff, doing giant raids, all that stuff. Most of it, I don't think any of us have a problem with. It's that this looks like he's just moving to the ISIS playbook so that he can just bomb huge chunks of their infrastructure where their families live and all this kind of stuff. And he's just, that's the, yeah.
And Jorge, immigration raids and enforcement actions, meanwhile, we know continuing across the country. In fact, agents have a goal to detain upwards of 1,500 undocumented migrants every single day. And
yeah, they haven't reached that.
we do see the raids in Chicago, in Aurora, Colorado this week. I know you're getting word of another raid. Where will this be? What do we know about it so far, Jorge?
Tell us, Jorge. By the way, maggots are complaining that someone is leaking the intel on these raids. Might be News Nation that's giving it away. Yeah, Aurora got one. Yeah.
So what was supposed to be one of the biggest ICE targeted operations was almost blown up in a new leaked intel. This is a new issue now that Border Czar Tom Homan says that they are now having to go against. 100 suspected Train That Iowa gang members were actually targeted in Aurora and in Denver. Dozens of federal agents stormed apartment buildings using battering rams and stun grenades, but gang members got a heads up before that operation was conducted. Trump's Border Czar Tom Homan says that these leaks put his officers in serious danger.
This isn't a game. When the
Also, real quick, maybe they weren't there. Maybe this is just you covering your ass. Maybe the reason you're not finding them is because they weren't there in the first fucking place. Did you find them someplace else? Did they all run to a fucking warehouse and you know, to meet? Did you see the vehicles? You didn't do aerial surveillance, you know, for, you know, the day before, or have people on the street going, hey, everybody's bugging out, we better go. Maybe, just maybe, you were lying the whole time.
Places get leaked like that, it puts our officers at great risk. It's already a dangerous job. The rest of we know Treaty 8 is dangerous. Everybody can agree to that. But when they get a heads up we're coming, it's only a matter of time before our officers are ambushed. And their job's dangerous enough.
It's not the first time that a major ICE raid was leaked. Word of an operation in Chicago made headlines just before President Trump was inaugurated. And now a similar leak might have just compromised another raid. The
Leaked documents say large-scale immigration enforcement action coming soon to L.A.
LA Times is now reporting that federal agents with ICE are set to carry out a large-scale enforcement in the Los Angeles area before the end of February. The operation will focus...
Real quick, also, this is a great way to cover your ass if there aren't anywhere near the number of people you say they're going to be. Leak the shit on purpose, let it get out, bitch about it very publicly, right? Pretend you didn't know, pretend you're like outraged. And then when you show up and there's nobody there, where you said this whole building's full of illegals, and then there's nobody there, there's like 12 people or some shit like that, then you could go, well, yeah, they got away. They were all here. Somebody let them know and gave them a heads up. Really? You have this large scale thing and you don't have eyes on the ground in the days leading up to it or any of that shit? Yep, you're not doing it. Like, this is just dopey. We're not finding anybody. Yeah, because they were never there, asshole.
On people who are illegally living in the United States and those who have already a pending order of removal. According to the LA Times, agents with the FBI and drug...
By the way, if you have an impending order of removal, you don't need a fucking heads up. You don't need a fucking leaked document. They've sent you one. Hey, buddy, remember how we said you could stay? We lied. You got to go. Then, of course, you'll bug out. You might even go home. You might even leave the country on purpose. But also, you might just scatter because they told you. That's not leaked information. You told them.
Enforcement agency have been called in. Los Angeles is a sanctuary city, meaning that local law enforcement are barred from assisting federal agents in arresting illegal immigrants. So far, this is at least the third leak of a raid this year alone. So a new issue now for the Trump administration when it comes to carrying out their mass deportation.
Also, a large-scale immigration enforcement action coming soon to L.A. is so fucking vague. Does it, does the L.A. story, you know, do the, hold on, Los Angeles Times leaked documents, large scale. Large-scale immigration raid to hit Los Angeles soon. Leaked internal documents show. Close. Go away. Let's see. Potential hurdles for ICE. Okay, here. This is the story. Good morning, welcome to Essential California Newsletter, Sunday. Internal documents show LA ICE raid is scheduled. Who's in charge of Palisades fire recovery? Okay, blah, blah. Early ICE immigration rates may pale in comparison to the one scheduled for LA this month. Even before the Trump administration came to power, there were already U.S. immigration custom enforcement raids that made headlines in early January in Bakersfield, Denver, and Aurora, Colorado. The Los Angeles County, home to more than 800,000 undocumented residents. According to USC's Equity Research Institute, did not draw the early ire of ICE. That, however, may be changing. My colleagues James Quealy and Brittany Maya reported that federal law enforcement agencies are planning a large-scale immigration enforcement as coming soon to LA. Go away. I don't have a fucking thing. God damn it. I don't want to have to get why is everything behind a paywall if this is important? I hate you, you big stupid dummies. Anyways, I guess this is the Substack version of things, so it's shorter. They're doing a large enforcement by the end of the month, according to documents reviewed by the Times. Trump repeatedly criticized the operation would be spearheaded by ICE and would focus on people who do not have a legal status or only have pending orders of removal. Again, all those people have been told. Anybody with a pending order of removal has been told, your order of removal is pending. Get ready to go. Pack your shit. That's what that means. According to the document, ICE did not respond. Let's see. A federal enforcement source who spoke on the condition of anonymity for fear of reprisal said agents of the FBI and the Drug Enforcement Administration's Los Angeles field office are being called in to assist. They need more bodies. That won't tell when and where it happens and what direction. A former federal law enforcement official said they've been informed about the recent preparations but spoke on condition of anonymity, fearing retaliation. Also said FBI agents were being ordered to participate. The active federal enforcement warned that plans could change due to the chaotic nature of the Trump administration's first few weeks in power. These motherfuckers don't even know what they're going to do. You can't leak a plan when there ain't one. They don't. There's also expected pushback from within some agencies that were required to aid ICE. What are the local agencies saying about it? Blah, 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 blah. Is going to commit to any decline to comment on the upcoming large-scale operation. The federal agencies, DEA, ATF, DEA LA last night posted that it participated in an operation tied to immigration enforcement. When asked to support this, blah, blah, blah. That's it. Okay. Ensure the options. Blah, blah. That's it. Like, Jesus Christ.
Plans, Natasha.
Not honestly. Honestly. Oh, well, thank you so much, Jen. Down payment on future laughs. Well, believe me, the ROI on that shit is a happening. God damn. I do like the fact that I got a goatee now, too. I was for sure it was going to go away when you do the thing, but I think I look sexy. Come on. So,
appreciate you tracking that. News Nation's Jorge Ventura, thank you. Thanks for watching. Go to.
Thanks for leaking. Okay, where is this? Is this back to this one? Yeah, this is the same shit. Okay.
The world combined, President Trump's not going to mess with them.
So when you say there's going to be violence on the border, I heard you say that the other day. What do you mean? What should we prepare?
What should we prepare for in my studio? What talking points would you like me to have loaded to justify bombing an allied country?
To see.
I think you're going to see them shooting at border patrol agents. They've already started a couple days ago. Border patrol was taking fire. I think it's.
You know what? I don't need all the words. I get the gist. Too much. I'm scared running there shooting that thing when they bring out their gun, going to be dropping down in the motel with your pants off.
See that escalate. these groups are making record amounts of money. They're not going. They got to find a way to get their product in. So, armed encounters with the cartels, I think, are going to increase. I hope I'm wrong, but I've done this for
No, you don't.
35 years. I don't think I'm wrong at all. There's going to be more armed encounters on that border, and I just hope and pray every uniformed Border Patrol agent goes home to his family every day or her family. But it's not going to be easy. It's not. If anybody thinks the cartels are not going to respond in some fashion with some violence, they're crazy. It's going to happen.
So,
And that's all they're waiting for.
the president of Mexico said she was offended that anyone would suggest that their government is in bed with the cartels. And I mean, all you have to do is look at the news. Anytime somebody wants to run for office and they will talk about cleaning out the cartels, they're killed over and over and over again. It's no secret. I would imagine that.
Also, that's different from being in bed with the fucking cartels. And secondly, Trump is mobbed up to his fucking ears, especially during his time in New York. Jesus Christ, his buildings they only exist because of mob concrete, dummy.
Politicians in Mexico, the ones who aren't on the take, would actually be all in favor of
strafe bombing eastern Mexico. They'd be big fans of that.
the United States coming in and cleaning.
Ooh, coming in. Troops on the ground. Maybe, I would say that, wouldn't that count as starting a war? Even if you think it's a war on terror in that regard, even if you change the language around? Troops on the ground in a foreign country fighting people, that doesn't sound like, that's, non-interventionism, I guess.
Cleaning out that hornet's nest in the cartels. What do you think Mexico's reaction would be?
I think, you know what, they shouldn't worry about cleaning out the hornet's nest, Glenn. I think they should take you and Stu down there and stuff you in the fucking hole. Then they'll never be able to get out. The hornets will be stuck in the nest, and, unless they find a gopher who's a plumber, say, somebody's got Stu stuck in a hole.
I think for the country, it'd be great. Look, the cartels have killed thousands of journalists and prosecutors and politicians and officers and military. I mean, I think Mexico, some of the people on the take that are on the take from the cartels, they're forced to be on the take. Cartel says, you're either going to do this for us, we'll give you this much money. If you don't do it, we'll kill you and your family.
Right.
So, I think Mexico will be, if they could be free of the cartels, I think the country would be much safer. Let's remember, just wars alone. Mexico has thousands of people murdered by the cartels. I think Mexico would be a much better country. I think they would welcome that. And I hope they partner the United.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of countries work together with things like Interpol and the like, where they're trying to deal with transnational gangs. That ain't the issue. This is kind of like the idea of where, Trump's talking about, like, we have a trade issue with a couple of countries and therefore we'll just blanket trade, a blanket tariff everybody. There's a prescription that will kill you before the disease does.
United States to make that happen.
There are blue states now, there are cities and mayors and everybody else that are saying they're not going to help ICE. Are there any purposely impeding the orders of the president on deportations? And if there are, what message do you want to send to them?
Look, I've been clear. I mean, if they don't want to help, shame on them, because we've made it clear we're prioritizing public safety threats. I find it hard to believe any politician, whether Republican, Democrat, Independent, does not want public safety threats removed from their communities. I think.
Yeah, but if you're using that as a guise to go after people in a fucking chicken factory, they have the right to, I think, call bullshit. If you don't believe me, ask Florida.
Number one responsibility of any politician is protection of his communities. But if they don't want to help.
Yeah, from what? Fruit? Jesus Christ. Hold on one second. Where is it? Florida Trump Act Bill blah, blah, blah. Here you go. Let's try to do this. This is the Florida Trump Act. Experts warn immigration bill makes no economic sense. Jesus Christ, I had no idea Trump wrote bills for the state of Florida. The bill aimed to strengthen immigration enforcement, blah, blah, blah. And they put the DeSantis harshly criticized the legislation, calling it very grotesque and weak for not going far enough to tackle illegal immigration. It would shift the immigration enforcement powers to Florida's agricultural commissioner, Wilton Simpson, rather than keeping them under DeSantis's control. And why would that be? Well, you want to talk about a leaked raid intel? Let me tell you something. If the agricultural secretary is the first to know, the big farms will be the second to know.
Stand aside, we'll do it for him. I mean, I just landed. I was in Aurora, Colorado today doing an operation. Aurora, Colorado, the politicians there, they had no problem with TDA. Well, we went there today to answer the call. President Trump made a promise. We kept that promise. We're arresting TDA today. But, but they crossed that line. I don't think anybody's has crossed that line yet.
Yeah, one guy. And good for you. One guy. Fairly certain you could have made a fucking phone call and the locals could have picked him up on a federal warrant. Especially if they're on your fucking side. What are you talking about?
Governor Phil Murphy made some comment the other day. He was harboring illegal alien. We've already started working that, but all of a sudden now he's saying it wasn't true. But if there's a politician that knowingly and actively impedes a federal law enforcement officer, it's a felony. If they knowingly harbor...
Yeah, no, none of them are doing it, fuckwad. None of them. They're not doing it. They're just not lending you their sheriff's department. Because in the case where you have somebody who's in a mixed family, where some people might be legal and some people might not, there's a tendency to not want to call the police if something bad happens to you if you don't trust anybody. So they make this separation between the local law enforcement and the immigration or the federal forces, and never the twain shall meet. And they do that so that they can protect, women and children, vulnerable people from, rape and incest and domestic violence and theft and assault, right? You don't want them afraid to call 911 if something terrible is happening. Especially, here's an idea. They live in a community that's not all illegal. This might be shocking to you. And they see something. Fucking right across the street. Some woman's getting her brains beat out on her fucking front lawn by her drunk ex-husband who shows up in the middle of the night or something. And they're the only one awake. They could call the fucking people. They could call the cops. They could, call 911. But they're afraid to do it because those people might show up, question them, and then they get deported. So they're afraid to do that. So you separate those two things. You just, that makes sense. I mean, because you're prioritizing human life and safety and all that kind of stuff. If somebody calls the cops on somebody, that's a different case altogether. And if you want to make a case that once they're in jail for something, that ICE has, that federal law trumps state rules on prosecution because entering the country illegally as a higher tier than assault or murder or any of those other things. The problem with that is your only recourse is, since they're not trying you for murder or assault or any of those things, if ICE grabs you, all they can charge you with is entering the country illegally. And so if you've murdered somebody, they'll just send you back to your country. You get a free fucking plane ticket home. Well, what if you snuck in the country just to murder that person? What about that? What if you're literally a hitman sent up here to kill somebody, and then you do it, and instead of throwing you in jail for it and then doing an organized transfer to a jail with your home country so that you serve the rest of your sentence there or something like that, you just take them, just give them a flight back and you just leave. Just walk right off the fucking plane. Thanks for flying into America and killing a citizen. Here's your free round trip ticket.
Conceal an illegal alien from ICE suspicion. It's a felony. And look, we got Pam Bondi in there now. Pam Bondi, one of the first things she did is hold off federal funding for these sanctuary cities. You have no problem if I recommend prosecution of a politician for impeding or knowingly harboring, concealing an illegal alien.
When you say impeding the work of ICE, does that mean they have to physically impede, or just some of their policies?
That's what the Department of Justice is reviewing right now. For me, it's like, that the mayor of Denver saying he's going to put roadblocks up, have, police officers blocking them entering the city. that's clearly impeding. DOJ, the deputy AG Bovee, and they're looking at that right now. They're making a clear distinction. So one of these sanctuary jurisdictions, here's the line you don't cross. So I'll let the attorneys work that out, but you should see guidance come on that real soon, and they're serious about it.
Also, again, the police officers themselves in Denver, let's see, hold on. Denver, roadblocks, ICE, some border patrol. ICE raids underway in Metro Denver. Obviously, there were no large neighbors and advocates real and aftermath of Denver area raid. Maybe the mayor. I mean, it's happening, so I don't know what the fuck. Yeah, so let's see. Denver mayor reverses sanctuary stance, agrees to work with ICE amid pressure from the DOJ. Previously about to stop, appears to have backed down from his sanctuary stance, pressure from the. In an interview with KDVR, Johnston stated that Denver would cooperate in certain circumstances. In the case of illegal aliens who have committed additional crimes in the United States, Johnson said Denver would notify ICE about their scheduled release. Yet Johnson also claimed that Denver's hands are tied by sanctuary state law. We don't honor ICE detainers. If ICE calls and says we hold someone for 3 or more days, that doesn't happen in Douglas County or Yuma or in Denver. A lot of the practices are similar statewide. Okay, so it's not a mayor thing. Denver mayor says city. Yeah, here you go. Denver mayor says city will help ICE deport violent criminals, but could sue to stop school raids. What a monster. I don't care about folks. My brother was an 8-year-old in there speaking Spanish, making people's ears hurt.
They're serious about it. We're already looking at sanctuary city and see if they cross that line. So I'm not an attorney. I'm not a prosecutor, but I'm willing to put handcuffs on somebody once the U.S. attorney decides they're going to prosecute somebody.
Well, if they have to follow the fucking state law, then go arrest the governor, asshat, or go arrest the entire citizenry because they voted for the law.
I got to tell you, Tom, the one thing that surprised even me, and I'm a fan of what Donald Trump was doing, and I knew he was going to move fast, but boy, you guys are all in lockstep and serious and well.
No, they're not.
Well planned out. It's breathtaking to watch.
First of all, if it was well planned out and they're all in lockstep, shit wouldn't have leaked in the first place. And even if it did, you would see where the people have gone because you'd have lead people watching before before whatever raid happened.
On this side, you guys all have to be tired because we're a little tired of trying to catch up.
Tired of trying to make sense of what he's saying?
Up on everything that you've done. It's amazing. Thank you.
I was just talking to my security detail because I got numerous death threats against me and my family, and we just landed coming up in Colorado, and I was just talking to the lead of my security detail that we got to give him a day off. This team has not had a day off since January 3rd. I mean, me.
Yeah.
The day after the election, I'm working with Steve Miller, the architect, brilliant man. We've been planning, creating
the architect
plans since the day of the election. So we've been busy, and sooner or later we get a day off. But right now, I'm excited because we're doing things we've never done before. When I saw aliens being loaded on military jet moving south, never saw that in my career. When I was in Chicago and just left Colorado, and you see not just ICE officers, you see FBI, you see DEA, you see U.S. Marshals, you see ATF, all one team to address the public safety threat from illegal aliens. And what's great about it, we catch an illegal alien with drugs, DEA can prosecute before we deport him. We arrested some TDA members with guns. They were selling. Picture this: an illegal alien from Venezuela, a TDA member, selling guns to other gang members here in the country. And some of these guns have what they call a switch. The switch makes that gun fully automatic, a machine gun.
Hey, asshole! That's not illegal. Thanks to Clarence Thomas. You dumb motherfucker. Also, let's see. Illegal gang. The U.S. blames leaks for low turnout. Yeah. Sometimes I just gotta say, Tom Homan is upset that ISIS raids in Chicago aren't as bad as they could because many people know their rights. City of Chicago may be too smart for Tom Homan. Sanctuary citizens are making it very difficult to arrest criminals. For instance, Chicago, very well educated. That's why Trump likes the poorly educated. They've been educated how to defy ICE, how to hide from ICE. I've seen many pamphlets from many NGOs. Here's how you escape ICE from arresting you. Here's what you need to do. They call it Know Your Rights. I call it How to Escape Arrest. Genius. Know Your Rights campaign launched by Mayor Brandon Johnson. The program seeks to ensure residents of Chicago know their rights in the event of being stopped and detained by federal immigration agents. The information is posted on video screens throughout the city's public transit system. The immigration czar is spearheading efforts to carry out Trump's mass deportation plans, which have hit major cities like Chicago, Miami, Atlanta. And let's see, this would be Bink. Hold on. Launch Know Your campaign on video screens. The digital displays ads will appear over 400 locations in the city. Know Your Rights. There you go. That's this little thing right here. Again, technically speaking, there's nothing wrong with knowing your rights if ICE is correct to take you out.
So it was great having ATF in the operation they can prosecute. So this is Trump's vision. We're implementing.
Sorry, it's great having who?
Great having ATF in the operation they can.
I'm sorry, it's great having ATF? Tom Homan likes ATF?
So the switch makes that gun fully automatic, a machine gun. So it was great having ATF in the operation they can prosecute. So this is Trump's vision.
Look at that. And Trump wants to get rid of the ATF. That's good times.
We're implementing, and it's a game changer. I'm really excited. I've never seen anything like this in my career. Yeah. This is all hands on deck, making the president's promise come true.
I got to tell you, Tom, I know you have either listened to me or watched me or at least
shut the fuck up.
Followed somewhat of what I've done in the past, and I haven't been very optimistic of being able to save our country. I think you guys are doing it, and I'm appreciative. Thank you so much, Tom.
Yeah, you're doing it by basically implementing the same policy that Obama and Biden had, just being loud about it. And by the way, that is having an impact at the border. You can argue that the reason the numbers are down at the border is because they believe no one will qualify for asylum in the current state of affairs. So there's no reason to pay $8 to $10 grand to get across the border if you're going to be kicked right out. They only do that if they think they have, they can manage to get through. So they've stopped trying, essentially. The ones that are already in got in and are trying to, find some way to stay, but everybody else has just stopped trying. That's why the sort of cruelty of how they talk about this thing and the way that they're handling it in terms of just, creating a red line. It's more of a PR thing against people who would cross the southern border. So it reaches them as a message instead of like your rights will be respected and all that kind of stuff, which would lead people to think they at least have a chance. This tells everybody nobody has a chance, even if you deserve it. And so that's what slowed the number down. That's why they have, the 450 so people are people who have, are legitimately trying to cross the border. For asylum cases, as it were. And now there is. I talked about this morning with Cliff and with Tara, but Trump did this Super Bowl interview, and I haven't seen all of it. I haven't seen any of it, actually, but I haven't seen all of it in one big chunk. But this is him telling about his beautiful plan for Gaza. And this goes out to the uncommitted. Nice work, assholes. You just went, it's a lesser of two evils, and you helped elect the greater of two evils. You actively focused on guaranteeing that the greater of two evils would succeed. Nice job. And don't try to walk it back and go, it was a fucking this, it was, a little of this, a little of that, and we don't really, there was really no difference. No, shut the fuck up. I'll listen to this.
Brett Baer had an exclusive interview, as we told you earlier, but you didn't see this part. This is him talking about his
Sorry, they edited it out for the Super Bowl. They didn't want the whole country to see this.
plan for Gaza. Watch.
We'll build beautiful communities for the 1.9 million people. We'll build beautiful communities, safe communities. Could be 5, 6, could be 2, but we'll build safe communities a little bit away from where they are. We're all
A little bit away from another country is what he means.
what this danger is. In the meantime, I would own this. Think of it as a real estate development.
Motherfucker, it doesn't get, like, I've heard him say it several times, and it just gets fucking crazier every time. I don't have my nut warning in there. I apologize, guys. It's not loaded in this one. So consider yourself warned. Nut warning.
For the future. It would be a beautiful piece of land.
Would the Palestinians
no
have the
big
right to
money
return?
spent. No, they wouldn't, because they're going to have.
Yep. Just what we fucking said. What we fucking tell you. No, they wouldn't. Would they have a right to return, says Brett Baer. No, they wouldn't.
Of land.
Would the Palestinians
no
have the
big
right to
money
return?
spent. No, they wouldn't, because they're going to have much better housing, much better. In other words, I'm talking about building a permanent place for them. Because if they have to return now, it'll be years before you could ever. It's not habitable. It will be years before it could happen. I'm talking about starting to build, and I think I could make a deal with Jordan. I think I could make a deal with Egypt. You know, we give them billions and billions of dollars a year.
So you're going to watch.
Yeah, to protect Israel, you dumb motherfucker. What are you going to do? Pull that? Do you want Israel to nuke Iran? Because if you put their back against the wall by making, getting your relationship with Jordan and Egypt on shaky ground, good God. Listen to this shit again. Listen to this.
Own this. Think of it as a real estate development for the future.
Just like the flippant bullshit. Anybody who thought there was a toss-up between this fuckwad and Harris? How do you walk outside? How do you show your fucking face to anybody? Or do you just surround yourself with people who are just as deluded and full of shit and cruel and gross as you are? Good Lord. Hal, are you vote shaming? You're fucking A right.
It would be a beautiful piece of land.
Would the Palestinians
no
have the
big
right to
money
return?
spent. No, they wouldn't, because they're going to have much better.
No, they wouldn't, because they're going to have much better place. We're going to build them a fucking subdivision in Jordan someplace on the other side of the fucking country. They'll live in tents for a couple of years while we build it. And then maybe the locals who never wanted them there in the first fucking place will take them out or move them or breed them out or kill them or whatever the fuck. And then we'll turn those places into oceanfront property.
Housing, much better. In other words, I'm talking about building a permanent place for them. Because if they have to return now, it'll be years before you could ever. It's not habitable. It will be years before it could happen. I'm talking about starting to build, and I think I could.
Also, for fuck's sake, like, these places you're going to send them to don't exist. Wouldn't it take years to build the same shit you're talking about? I mean, they're going to have to lay a foundation, right? They're going to have to bulldoze some stuff, I suppose. So what's the difference between northern Gaza and some random piece of fucking desert in Jordan?
Could make a deal with Jordan. I think I could make a deal with Egypt. You know, we give them billions and billions of dollars a year.
Jesus Christ. Like, how in the fuck? And again, like, this started as like his fucking id jumping out of his goddamn neck. And now it has turned into, like, this is policy. This is, you know, and again, Greenland bullshit, Canada bullshit, Panama bullshit. That I'm not worried about. Bombing Mexico and this shit could actually have legs because he's so attached to this idea and sees it as part of his future and does not understand any of the downside at all. Can't even picture it. And again, there's a direct line between October 7th and his recognition of the Golan Heights and his, you know, okaying settlers in the, you know, in the West Bank. And then, of course, Jerusalem becoming the capital and then, you know, recognizing that and then moving the embassy there. That was a direct line to October 7th happening. This stuff, this blather he's talking about. At a certain point, this is end time shit for a bunch of these folks. Like this could trigger so much fucking awful right now. And he just doesn't care. And again, it may not until they take one step towards it. Once the hostages have come back or whatever, and then they've released the Palestinian prisoners into Gaza again, what's to stop them from just killing all the people they let go? Trump's not going to stop them. Why do you think he says the Ukraine war wouldn't have happened if he was president? It's because it wouldn't have been a war. It would have been over in 6 fucking days. He'd have just said, fill your boots, go do what you want to do. Pull your socks up. Hold on. Now, this is another chunk of that. Trump 100% disagrees with federal judges' crazy Doge ruling, you know, the Constitution.
Welcome back. I'm Brett Baer. We'll send you back to the Fox team in New Orleans in just a few minutes, but
please don't.
Now, welcome to Mar-a-Lago, the winter White House in Palm Beach, Florida. We're pleased to be joined by the 45th and 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Mr. President, thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
Happy Super Bowl.
Thank you.
You know, you...
So not only is he bringing back Merry Christmas, he's bringing back Happy Super Bowl, too. Finally. Promises made, promises...
are going to be the first sitting president to attend a Super Bowl. It's a big day.
Yes, just in time when we realize the government spends too much money, we're going to spend a bunch of money to send you to the fucking Super Bowl for no fucking reason.
For America, always is. What made you want to do it?
Well, first of all, I'm very surprised to hear that. I would have assumed many presidents came, but I think just the spirit of the country's taken on a whole new life. I thought it would be a good thing for the country to have the president be at the game.
It's an iconic day.
Why? Why? Okay, look. One of the things about like Joe Biden's presidency that had it happened at any other time, I would have really enjoyed if it hadn't been in the Trump, I don't know, saga period of American history, it would have been really fucking boring. I got news for you, asshole. I don't need the federal government or even the state government to be in my life at all. I'd like them to be there doing their shit, but I don't need to see you guys, right? I don't need any more than somebody who's working on an assembly line needs the fucking CEO kind of walking through, making everybody clap when he walks by. We're all working. We got shit to do, dumb fuck. Get out of here. Nobody wants to, like, this idea that it's become, the reality TV presidency, and it can only get ratings if it's drama. It's a fucking waste of time. No, we don't need to see you there. There's enough in just will Taylor Swift be happy whether her boyfriend wins or loses. There's enough shit to cover the news like about a fucking football game. How about this, asshole? How about it just is about the game itself? Honestly. I mean, there's a little bit of like, oh, Paul McCartney's there. That's cool. About the Super Bowl. But that lasts about an eighth of a second. It's like between popcorn bites. Or nachos, I suppose, if you're eating them at home. What a dickhead.
It's an iconic day. It's going to be a great game, two great teams. And let's see what happens.
It seems the first days of this administration are like a no-huddle offense.
No, fuck you. They already did the huddle. It was called Project 2025. We told everybody what they would do, and that's what they're doing. All he's doing is signing pages in Project 2025. That's it. They printed out a giant copy of it, and then somebody is going, here, sign this page today. Here, sign this page today. And they're doing 30 a fucking day. They're executive orders. They don't mean shit. They can be wiped away the next time. He's not changing legislation. He did this last time. And it's one of the reasons why Biden did the infrastructure bill and Trump had a tax cut, and that was it. Infrastructure that will change and benefit this country for decades, and a tax cut that will expire this year because even Republicans know that if they re-up it, they're fucking the debt. And a lot of people are like, he wins all the time, and he wins, and he does all these wins, and he gets all these wins. And no, he doesn't. It's all temporary, and it all falls apart. He gets a lot of news cycles out of it, but then they eat shit.
Plays going down the field, one after another. There's a long list of things you've already got done in 3 weeks. Big border policy changes, ICE crackdowns on criminals, taking biological men out of women and girls' sports, big energy policy changes. So,
again, policy changes. That happens with every administration.
What's different with you and your administration? The difference between the 45th president and the 47th president?
Well, with the 45th...
Well, I'm older. I've got a fuller diaper. What was the question? My nunt is shockingly bad. Honestly, if I walk up to Mike Johnson and somebody points at something on the ceiling and I look up at it, his porn app goes off. And also, I'm dough-headed now. So anything you say, be careful. It might become policy.
I had tremendous opposition, but I didn't know people, and I didn't have the kind of support that I needed. I put people in office, some really great ones, but I had some that I wouldn't have put. I would have, known better if it were a couple of years later, or if I had a little more experience in D.C. I was a New York person, not a D.C. person.
Yeah, there's a huge fucking difference.
And I had a lot of opposition. I just noticed, I looked on the stage for the recent inauguration, and I'm looking, it's like a who's who of Washington. Well, if you look on the stage for the first one, it was just the opposite.
So some of your plays have raised some questions and had some pushbacks. 19 states' attorneys general filed a lawsuit, and early Saturday, a judge agreed with them to restrict Elon Musk and his government efficiency team, Doge, from accessing Treasury Department payment and data systems. They said there was a risk of irreparable harm. What do you make of that? And does that slow you down on what you want to do?
No, I disagree with it 100%. I think it's crazy, and we have to...
Oh, you do? 100%. All the points. Every aspect of it, you disagree with it. Well, tell you what. Break it down for me, fuckhead. Like what? What are they doing specifically in there? Why do they need to access Treasury Department data themselves? Why don't they just talk to the Commerce Committee? They deal with that, and all those guys have been sworn to secrecy. They all have, clearance. They've all been through everything. They see everything. Why not talk to them? Oh, because it doesn't look cool. It looks like you're kicking in doors around here, like looking for criminals. That's why. But the reality is he can't explain any of it. He doesn't know how anything works, so he can't understand if it's broken or not.
Solve the efficiency problem. We have to solve the fraud, waste, abuse, all the things that have gone in the government. You take a look at the USAID, the kind of fraud in there,
and you found significant things.
There's no fraud. None. You can disagree with what they're spending it on, but it's not fraud. Fraud is, I said it was for this, and it's actually for this. Or I'm not even using it for anything at all. I'm just keeping it.
Well, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars of money that's going to places where it shouldn't be going, where...
Yeah, that's a matter of opinion. In hundreds of millions of dollars, no, you aren't. It's so far it's under 200 million. It was like 120, something like that. Altogether, these programs that they've been bitching about, which again, questionable as to whether that they actually went to what they're saying. They just went to an organization that also did that thing. which is another lazy way of doing this. You know, this is that cartel-related social media accounts. And, you know, 3 tiers down, and you're like, this started here and went to here. They're like connecting a dot, you know, a line with, you know, pretending it's a direct line when in actuality they're just linked loosely. Okay. I guess, what is it, $41 billion? Is how much USAID's budget is? I gotta say, if you're gonna say there's tremendous waste, fraud, and abuse, and the budget is $41 billion, I want you to be able to tell me about payments of at least $22 billion. Over half. Tell me, or a quarter of it. How about that? How about just $10 billion wasted? Point to it. Get the books, look at it yourself, open it up on your own fucking desk with your goddamn Sharpie, and start circling stuff.
Read a list, you'd say this is ridiculous, and you've read the same lists, and
right, it's the same list everywhere. They don't add to it. It's the same shit, and again, it's just policy shit. You just don't believe in it. You're just anti-trans, and you're anti-LGBT, or you don't think that should be a priority in terms of human rights dealing with another country, or any of the stuff that we do to mitigate the differences in culture and try to communicate like, hey, we've got trans people and people of color, and we've got, gay people that work in our embassy, and you guys need to know how to talk to them. So we're going to do these little gatherings with your government staff and with your press so they know how to cover it when we're in the country, so they don't misgender our people and stuff. And you just don't like that. Don't fucking call it fraud if you just disagree with the fucking policy. Man up and just go, my spending priorities will be this or not at all. But don't act like we're all supposed to be shocked.
there are many that you haven't even seen. It's crazy.
Bullshit. Why? Why, if Mr. Transparency, why haven't I seen it? Why hasn't my audience seen it? Why do we keep seeing the same shit over and over again? Stuff that, by the way, people have been bitching about overreach and too much foreign aid and stuff have been talking about forever. The dude they brought before the House committee to talk about this was like, yeah, these things they're finding I've been complaining about for a decade. We're like, yeah, they're not discovering anything fucking new. So just man up and go, I have different priorities. They put too much focus on this, and I disagree. So I'm changing the focus of these things. It's on me. It's not waste. It's not fraud. It's not abuse. This is just where we disagree. And stand by it. Don't be a fucking wuss. This, like, victim playing while victim blaming, it's just gross.
It's a big scam. Now, there's some good money, and we can do that through any one of a number. I think I'd rather give it to Marco Rubio over at the State Department. Let him take care of the few good ones. So I don't know if it's kickbacks or what's going on, but
if you don't know, then shut the fuck up. Again, $40 billion. I don't even want to hear from you motherfuckers until you crest over $1 billion in savings, because anything under that, the appropriation committees should have been able to figure out over time. Hold on. I don't know. Let's see. See, I'm trying to find something that isn't from the last little bit. And let's just go with Lebanon. You know how we've heard that Tiffany's husband's dad or somebody is going to be the ambassador to Lebanon, right? So let's see. I think I try to do this in here. Well, there we go. This is from the Kenyan Times 6 days ago. The United States Agency for International Development allocated budget of 5.6 to 43 billion for fiscal year 2023, as reported by the Congressional Research Service. So they know the budget. They know the exact amount of the dollars that are going out. Approximately 130 countries receive USAID assistance, with Europe and Eurasia receiving the largest share, amounting to 17 billion. The huge allocations because of Ukraine is the top foreign recipient in 2023. Moreover, between 2022 and 2024, USAID provided more than 30 billion in direct financial support for the Ukrainian government. USAID funds are usually distributed by various organizations instead of being directly utilized by the government. A substantial 52% of USAID programs are implemented by non-governmental organizations, while public international organizations, which include entities through partnerships with governments like the World Bank, handle 34%. On the other hand, U.S. government agencies oversee about 10% of the USAID projects, while foreign governments are responsible for approximately 4%. Among public international organizations, the World Bank Group was the top recipient of USAID non-military assistance between 2013 and 2022. $20 billion. On the other hand, World Food Program, which is dedicated to hunger relief efforts, has received more than $15 billion during the same time period. Moreover, for-profit firms have played a significant role in USAID-funded projects, with 40% of all NGO-related USAID funding being directed to these companies. Also, at least 4 private firms received over $1 billion each from these. Okay, so here's the top ones. Catholic Relief Services is number one of the groups that have done this. So Catholic Relief Services and Chemonics International, which is, by the way, which sounds very gnarly, but hold on one second. I'll show you what that is. In Lebanon, those are the top 2 there as well. So Chemonics International, there it is. Is a development solution. Yeah. So this is a private development company that Development Works Here is their title. About us. Let's see, reject all, go away. In private sector investment for agribusiness mobilized with partners in 2024, they got $2 billion. Cost savings on health commodities in 2024, $1 billion. 2,800 partnerships with local organizations across 50 countries in 2023. And this is harnessing tech for sustainable development where they work. Out of DC and London, Latin America, Caribbean, Africa, Middle East, Europe, Asia. Okay. Afghanistan support, careers, what we do. Here we go. Let's jump into this. We drive change with technical acumen, unparalleled systems, and continuous innovation. We make development work in more than 100 countries. Learn more about where we work. Okay, blah, blah, blah. There we go. Let's go. I don't know. Let's go to Africa. What they do there. It just signs on. It just flips over to this. Harnessing tech for sustainable development. Let's go to this window. The website's with the little eh. Let's see. Work with us. We could join our team. Chemonics community. Partner with us. There we go. What we do. We know that part. Where we work. We know that part. Who we are. All right. Let's go to who we are. There they go. Go to the page, you weirdo. Our story. Today, invest in thing. Learn more about what we do. It's like to work at Chemonics. Sign up for the newsletter. Sign up for our newsletter. Partner with us. Report a concern. Whatever. Okay. But very pared down website. Probably because they don't advertise because they don't have to. Let's see. I'll look up. Let's see if there's a USAID contract credence layoff, furlough hundreds of workers. Check this out. Hold on. This is last year. Oh dear. Look at this. Now the plot thickens. Chemonics International Incorporated to pay $3.1 million to resolve allegations of fraudulent billing under global health supply chain contract. Was this under Trump? Nope. Chemonics International, a private international development firm based in Washington, D.C., has agreed to pay $3 million to resolve allegations that violate the False Claims Act by submitting fraudulent claims for payment to the U.S. Agency for International Development. So apparently we did know about this shit. The settlement resolves allegations that Chemonics acted recklessly in failing to detect fraudulent charges by its subcontractor, Zenith Carrix, also known as Zenith, for certain delivery services in Nigeria, and passed the charges on to USAID under the Global Health Supply Chain Procurement and Supply Chain Management contract. Under this contract, Chemonics provided healthcare supply chain management services, related technical assistance in Nigeria and other countries. Motherfucker, like, we know this stuff. Here, is this the settlement? Hold on. Do they have the text of it? Yeah, there it is. There's the settlement itself. Chemonics is a private. Okay, there's that was just a short form of the whole thing. With respect to LHD, cold chain services in Nigeria, the United States contends that between 2017 and March 2020, I wish I could remember who was president during those years. I'm a complete blank. Zenith fraudulently charged Chemonics for its transportation services based on truck tonnage as opposed to the weight per kilogram of the commodity transported, as the subcontract between Chemonics and Zenith required. With respect to LMD cold chain services in Nigeria, the United States contends that between June 2017 and March 2020, Zenith fraudulently charged Chemonics a higher rate for the LMD delivery services than the subcontract permitted. Yawn. Standard. This is how we find how costs get overrun. That's what you do. That's what it's supposed to fucking look like. That, you know what that is? You know what? Hold on. You know what this is? This is the government fucking working. Doing its shit. Discovering that during the Trump years, somebody was fucking like shuffling money around and didn't care, and they got busted during the Biden administration, and they managed to get a settlement before they left office. So this motherfucker couldn't give them a break. So, and then let's go to FHI 360. There we go. FHI 360. Yeah. Okay. Another private development organization, putting opportunity within reach. I spent more than 50 years developing bold solutions to global challenges and creating measurable results. This picture probably terrifies maggots. This is enough to get them their funding cut. By the way, adorable. Who we are: 60 plus countries, 300 active projects, 4,000 team members, 5,500 journal things. Tuberculosis research. God knows. Who cares about infectious disease? Okay, what do we do in the United States? What are they? Okay, accept all. Go away. What does this go? Okay, U.S. What happens? I understand. Okay, explore. How do you do? There's 68 projects in this. U.S. Okay, overview. Health programs that employ our social marketing communication expertise to promote behavior services, policies, support healthy communities, education programs that help school systems, state agencies, community organizations improve learning and well-being for all students so they can succeed in work and life, and school economic opportunity programs, including workforce development, which probably Trump's fucking opportunity zone ripoff. Use that. International exchange programs that connect students, scholars, and civil society leaders so that vital knowledge transcends national borders. Bringing in foreigners is probably what they're mad about. Early care and education, family community engagement, financial literacy, STEM learning. Look at that. They do STEM learning. Let's see what their STEM shit is about. Deeply committed to ensuring high quality, equitable STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, learning for all students, promote this research, developing research-based curricula for after school and other informal settings, conducting research and evaluation on STEM engagement, working with private sector, schools, districts, and other. Okay, like this is after school math plus, featured programs, bridge to employment mentors propel Trenton students towards their future. Beating the odds, how a high school program transformed Trenton students' futures, the next engineers, bridges to employment, women in STEM, giving back to STEM, a young woman uses her experience to encourage others, sparking girls' interest in STEM 2D careers. Okay, so this is what they hate. They view this as diversity, equity, and inclusion overlap or some shit. And that's why they hate these groups. So these groups take their money in and then they distribute them and whatever. You can argue whether or not they spend most of the money on doing the stuff or their own infrastructure or those kind of things. That's what oversight is for. And basically what the Republicans are doing is that they don't have the nerve to cut these programs themselves because they're cowards. So they're hoping to outsource this to Musk and Trump. Hey, I don't know. I just went in there and cut everything. I'm not the bad guy here. That's what they're doing. Development Attorneys, ABT Associates, RTI International, Research Institute, Jon Snow International, which I think is buys everybody a subscription to HBO so they can watch House of Dragons, I suppose, which is the DEI version of. Okay, anyways. Save the Children, terrible group, ARD, Gipiego, Deloitte. Deloitte was one of the big ones they covered as well. World Vision, which I actually did a fundraiser for at one point in Seattle, where I got to sing with Roger Daltrey and Whip from Queensryche. And who was there? Matt Starr was there. Like a bunch of, it was great. The entire Queensryche group was there, and early in the day. Population services, da-da-da. Okay, so these are these groups, okay? So waste, fraud, and abuse, no. He just doesn't like it, and he doesn't have the guts to go, I don't like that stuff. I don't want it done. I think it's wrong, and so I'm going to prioritize stuff that I think helps the country. He could do it. He's just too stupid.
People, look, I ran on this, and the people want me to find it. And I've had a great help with Elon Musk, who's been terrific.
Bottom line, you say you trust him.
Trust Elon? Oh, he's not gaining anything. In fact, I wonder how he can devote the time to it. He's so into it. But I told him.
Yeah, he acts like I'm not even paying him, and he's acting like there's something in it for him. Fucking weird, Do you get the feeling that if Donald Trump wasn't president or wasn't a rich guy right now, he'd have been talked into a van a long time ago and ended up in a river with his pants on backwards? Like, there's gullible, and then there's this. Jenny Faye loves Queensryche. What's not to love? Raise my eyes and she stares. Right.
Do that, then I'm going to tell him very soon, like maybe in 24 hours, to go check the Department of Education. He's going to find the same thing. Then I'm going to go to the...
No, he's not. And again, the entire budget of the fucking Department of Education is what, 9 hours of federal spending a year?
Military. Let's check the military. We're going to find billions, hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud and abuse, but I campaigned to...
What if you don't? I woke on impact, under surveillance from the camera eye. Right. You guys, you know it. You guys will get me caught up in it, and then I'll start singing, and then yeah. Yes, Operation Mindcrime, great album. Although I will say that Promised Land, both the song and the album, fantastic. And Someone Else, the piano ballad in it, I love. And I used it as part of my audition for a Broadway gig that I actually got, but then couldn't take because my show went back to production. And so they had first dibs on me. There's this thing when actors have a job and they have a series and you don't know if you're being picked up. So you go and audition for other stuff and you're in your show that you're on is in what's called A position. So that if they decide to come back and they do a pickup, you have to go back. It's how Pierce Brosnan lost Bond the first time. That's why Timothy Dalton got it. But I got Spam-A-Lot, and then I had to go back to the show, which I'm not upset about, but yeah. Just letting you know. Ha, ha, ha.
This, Brett.
You announced tariffs on Canada and Mexico. You immediately got action from both of them on border security and drug
No, you didn't. Canada was already doing that shit. They signed the bill in December, dummy. And Mexico had like 50,000 people at the border, and they said they're giving you 10, which means they took back 5.
Prediction.
I did. A lot of
Is
action
that good
nobody
enough?
expected.
Is that
No,
good enough?
No, it's not good enough.
So more needed in 30 days.
Something has to happen. It's not sustainable, and I'm changing it.
You know, the prime minister said.
By the way, what he means is USMCA is the dumbest trade deal that anyone has ever struck, and only a moron could come up with it. That's what he's actually saying.
This weekend to a group of Canadian businessmen, he was at a private meeting. He said that your wish for Canada to be the 51st state is a, quote, real thing. Is it a real thing?
Yeah, it is. I think Canada would be much
It's a real wish? Yeah. Is it Pinocchio?
better off being a 51st state because we...
It would be 3 states. It's enormous. The provinces, you'd probably end up with 3 provinces switching into 3 states. I doubt Quebec would go for it. I think if Canada joined, then Quebec would say, fuck you, and finally separate. Not happening. And again, it's a real fixation. It's not going to happen.
Lose $200 billion a year with...
We do not lose $200 billion. We are richer than they are. We buy more shit from them than they could ever buy from us, stupid. We don't lose any of it. This is so fucking weird.
Canada, and I'm not going to let that happen. It's too much. Why are we paying $200 billion a year, essentially in subsidy to Canada? Now,
we're not. We're just buying more shit because we have the biggest economy in the world.
If they're a 51st state, I don't mind doing it.
You said...
Look at, he's doing his side jaw now. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, so he's like, ooh, he's going on to me. Ooh, it's getting worse. Hold on. Oops. 1 second. Yeah, California's GDP is about $3 to $4 trillion. Canada's is a little under 2. The whole country. California could have a trade deficit with Canada just buying food if we wanted to.
The tariff is a beautiful word. There are some signs in the markets, consumer confidence, that they're a little jittery. So if all goes to plan, when do you...
Also a little jittery because they actually don't know what's going to happen because he keeps doing them and then calling them off and doing them and calling them off. Shit or get off the pot, fucker.
Do you think families would be able to feel prices going down, groceries, energy, or are you kind of saying to them, hang on, inflation may get worse until it gets better?
No, I think we're going to become a rich... Look, we're not that rich right now. We owe $36 trillion. That's because we let all these nations take advantage of us.
No, it isn't. It's because we prioritized our citizens through 3 of the most drastic fucking moments in any country's history. 9/11, 2008, and COVID. Never mind fucking AIDS and the Cold War.
Same thing, like $200 billion with Canada. We owe $300. We have a deficit with Mexico of $350 billion. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to let that happen.
Yes, all retailers have a deficit with their wholesaler. Hold on. What's the Mexican GDP? It's probably higher. It's got to be. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. I take it back. Mexico's is smaller than Canada's. Mexico's GDP is about 1.5 trillion. California's, again, is almost 4.
Sports has always been something that Americans rally around to come together. They really do. You won the...
Yeah. You play golf, which isn't a sport. Does that feel bad?
Popular vote. You won all the swing states. Have you thought about how to try to bring the country together, to reach out or to find common ground? Have you thought about that or how that might go?
Let me guess. He's going to tell a story about how success is going to bring us all together because last time the people like Bernie Sanders were calling him because they had to, because he's the fucking president and it's not him, it's the office. And they've got to get concessions to make shit work.
I'd love to do it, but I would say this. We have to come together, but to
Right now, over me.
come together, there's only one thing that's going to do it, and that's massive success.
Right, yeah, this is the same story told last time.
Success will bring the country together, but it's hard. And I say it's hard.
Hard success. Something I'm familiar with, but you're seemingly incapable of experiencing. Right.
I just signed a bill allowing for women not to have to be punished by.
Hey, fuckwad. No, you didn't. You didn't sign a bill. It's an executive order. Hold on. Just checking myself to make sure this wasn't. Yeah, Trump signs executive order banning trans women from women's sports. Yeah, dude, it wasn't a bill.
Men in sports. In other words, men are not going to be allowed to play in sports against women. It's ridiculous.
You're a sports guy. You're a football fan.
Explain the game to me.
Size up these two teams.
I'm a big fan of both teams. They're sort of different.
What a pussy.
And
I'm a big. Wait, sorry. What's his description of this? I'm a big fan of both teams. They're sort of different.
These two teams.
I'm a big fan of both teams. They're sort of different.
Yes, one apparently is from the Kansas area / Missouri, and the other one is apparently from Pennsylvania.
In Philadelphia, you have one of the greatest running backs, Saquon. You know, Saquon had an uncle who was a great fighter, and Iran Barkley, his name was. So you have a great running back. You really have a great quarterback. The other team, the quarterback really knows how to win. He's a great, great quarterback.
So game prediction?
There's a lot of chops in that one. Did you see that? You see the edits in that one?
In Philadelphia, you have one of the greatest running backs, Saquon. You know, Saquon had.
See that? He asked somebody. They cut. Listen, look at the cut. Look at the overlap. Listen to the overlapping words.
In Philadelphia, you have one of the greatest running backs, Saquon. You know, Saquon had an uncle who was a great fighter, and Iran Barkley, his name was. So you have a great running back. You really have a great quarterback.
Yeah, they're slicing it around.
The other team, the quarterback really knows how to win. He's a great, great quarterback.
So game prediction?
I hate to do it. I just say that I've watched this great quarterback who has, by the way, a phenomenal wife, okay? She's a Trump fan. She's a MAGA fan, so I happen to love her, okay? But she's...
Who? He means Mahomes. But who?
She's a great person. I watched her being interviewed. I said, boy, that's pretty good. But she's great, and he's great. I guess...
What was his name again? What was her name again?
You have to say that when a quarterback wins as much as he's won...
Yes. He makes it, I don't know, shit, to the Super Bowl, I guess.
I have to go with Kansas City.
Is that his name? His name is Mr. and Mrs. Kansas City?
I have to go with Kansas City. At the same time, Philadelphia has a fantastic... It's going to be just a great game.
Jesus Christ. Again, totally wussing out. Couldn't come up with Patrick Mahomes' name. Couldn't do it. Couldn't fucking do it. And they met, like, multiple times. What a douchebag. Okay, now, the other thing is, and by the way, how we're doing, oh, look at this. God, this show just zipped by today. Is it just me, or are you guys just awesome? By the way, thank you again. Oh, and Judd, thank you so much for the super chat. And thanks again, Jen, for that as well. By the way, hit the like, share the show. Don't forget to subscribe to my Substack if you do the Substack thing. Whatever channel you like to watch me on, subscribe there. Just do it wherever you're comfortable. I will bring the show to you. I am not one of these people that needs to corral you all into one place. But if you're on YouTube and you're watching, and I know you are, subscribe, will you? You know it. Come on. He's right. It's a great game. Yes, for the Eagles. Okay. Now, you guys know that there's been a lot of news stories about what he's trying to do, what he's going to do, and blah, blah, and a lot of it is, why the fuck, my overhead's been on the whole time? You guys didn't tell me this? Oh, shit. That's not classy. You know, what Trump says and what he actually is able to do, oftentimes, and again, this asshole thinks when he signs an executive order that it's a bill, because he's fucking dumb. When you sign a bill, it's an act that was passed by Congress and it becomes a law. An executive order is a statement of purpose. It's like a life goals list. It's like a statement. It's my intentions, and I'm holding them, holding my intentions. I'm focusing on what I intend to do. Ooh, Kit Kat. God damn it. So, yeah, I don't have that on remote. It's the fan. I want to swap it out, but I got other financial priorities. Having a child. So I walk over and flip the switch. I also don't want to change any of the switches in the house because I don't trust the wiring diagram the people who built it gave me. So I don't want to electrocute myself. It's a little thing. You guys understand. So I have been saying, like, what he says and what he does, we'll see. But when there's somebody around him that's actually in the administration, like Homan or somebody like that, and they're saying this statement of purpose or their plan or whatever, or they want to explain something, then I listen, because I want to hear what you can tell by how they talk about it, whether or not they're all in with what he's saying or whether they're pushing back, right? Okay. So Scott Bessent, ladies and gentlemen, Scott Bessent is I think, as Margaret Cho would say, gay, and he's got a husband and 2 adopted children, I believe. I don't know that they're biologically his and his partners or what the story is behind that, but they've got 2 kids, insofar as I know, and cool, whatever. Also used to work for George Soros. So while, myself and Tara Dublin and everybody else are waiting for our fucking George Soros checks, this asshole actually got a bunch of them. He got paid by George Soros for years. And now he's in the Trump administration. And I got to tell you, I don't know why the alarm bells are not going off in Trump world. And I think it's a missed opportunity. In all this anti-DEI shit that they're floating and all this stuff, just go, we applaud the Trump administration. We may differ with the policies, but we think it's great that he is a married gay man with 2 kids who used to work for George Soros working in his cabinet. That's progress. There he is reaching across the aisle, right? Do it. Every time you turn around. Look, Scott Bessent, who obviously is a married gay man with 2 children. I mean, that's a big leap for the Trump administration. Good for them. And he used to work for George Soros. So the fact that he used to work for George Soros and that he was an employee of George Soros was basically like mentored by George Soros, right? Is a good thing, I suppose, and there are some people on the very far left who are very excited about the fact that he's gay and has 2 children and is married and was mentored by George Soros. See what I mean? Just fucking hammer it. Okay, so here we go. This is Scott Bessent reveals the strategy behind Trump's tariffs. Now, I got to tell you something. If you have to reveal the strategy in this particular instance, you're either giving away the game because it's just like, he was actually bullshitting, that would be revealing the strategy. It was all bullshit. Or nobody knows what the fuck you're actually going to do it, and everybody's like, this is nuts. And he's like, no, we're bullshitting about it later. We'll only do it for a little while or some shit, right? It's the fact that you have a sentence like this under your fucking face on Fox News, in the first 3 weeks of the presidency should tell you something about the fact that these guys are talking out of their ass. But I want to hear it. I want to hear because he's not fucking around. I don't like him, but he'll tell you what really exists as far as what they're doing, what their plans are, actual existing strategy.
I think it's there's several different aspects to the strategy. We saw.
Oh dear.
What happened with Colombia? The president threatened tariffs. And the president of Colombia not only allowed illegal immigrants back into his country, he offered to send his own plane.
Right, because the whole pissing point was about the military planes. The guy didn't want military planes flying into and above his country. So he said, you guys always use civilian planes before. Do that now. I'll send you my plane, but don't fly a fucking military plane into my country forcibly. I can't do it. That wasn't a negotiating point, and Trump backed down. That was all he asked for.
He threatened tariffs on, or signed an order for tariffs on Mexico and Canada over the weekend, and then
because USMCA is trash.
And on Monday, President of Mexico offered 10,000 troops at the southern border, and Justin Trudeau, virtually the same.
Apparently to keep fentanyl precursors in Arizona from coming into Mexico, and guns, because the cartels get most of their guns from the United States.
Same thing, and this is in response to the fentanyl crisis. Also, tariffs on China, and again, this is due to...
Yes, by the way, has anybody noticed, chat room, anybody noticed you buy anything on eBay lately? Anybody looking for anything on eBay? I had to replace a car part, one of my headlights on my car, and I was looking on eBay for see if I could either find one as for like the frame part of it, or a pair of replacements or something like that. Everything is 10% off, not a bulb, the actual like socket part of it. Do you notice that everything's 10% off? Why is that? I did not hit something. It's just it's an older car, so it's just upkeep. But it's not damaged. It works fine, whatever. But I was browsing. Anyways, everything is down like 10%. You'll see a bunch of stuff is for sale or on sale at for like 10% less. Why?